We have waited for an opportunity where we could go and cast our ballots independently, where we could go and speak and be heard for the first time in the history of this great nation. As many of you are aware, certain results have been published through press conferences and through the media. It is imperative that we all understand that there is a presidential commission that has been established for these elections. It is imperative that we all understand that this presidential commission was in fact responsible for the first round of elections, which saw candidate Morsi in first place and candidate Shafik in second place, and thus determining the candidates that would be moving forward towards this runoff. At the end of the day, the counting of these ballots it is the role and responsibility for this commission. At the end of the day, this commission has not published any results. The consequence of that, and I stress consequence, is that any results that are being published or are being read by the media or being posted online are in fact the opinions of that party. In many terms, this race could be called too close to call. I believe that is the term that we have all seen on the media with respect to elections that are closely contested internationally. At the end of the day, both sides are extremely confident. In fact, our side is extremely confident that they have indeed become victorious after this election. But ultimately, it will be a matter of respecting the result when it's announced. There was discussion that this announcement is expected in the next couple of days. In our opinion, we will wait until such time before claiming victory, as we believe it would be premature to do so. The second element that is important is acceptance of the result. At the end of the day, candidate Shafik is willing to accept the result regardless of the outcome. In fact, he has stated on numerous occasions, and would like to stress again, that in the event that candidate Morsi is indeed successful and victorious in the election, the first telephone call that he will receive will be from candidate Shafik. Not only will he receive this telephone call from him, but in fact, the services of candidate Shafik shall be offered for the good of the country moving forward. At the end of the day, we are looking for unity. At the end of the day, the hard part of this has yet to commence. This is just the election. We are looking at an economy that is in shambles. We are looking at a GDP that at certain moments in time was less than 0.5%. We are looking at foreign reserves that have been reduced from $35 billion to less than $15 billion. The path ahead of us is very difficult. It is a path that requires all Egyptians to contribute. And it requires all Egyptians to contribute positively to the future of this great nation. The second element is that if candidate Shafik is victorious, the first matter that he will do is appoint a cabinet that will unify this country. He is intending on including members of the Freedom and Justice Party in this candidate. At the end of the day, this election has showed us that they are representing a large number of the ballots that have been cast. They must be representative. More importantly, he is intending on creating an advisory council. And not an advisory council to the president, but an advisory council to the state. One that would comprise the greatest Egyptian minds, those living in Egypt and those living internationally, to give their advice, to give their thoughts. Many of those thoughts were sort of quashed during the process of the revolution. We have matters to deal with healthcare. We have matters to deal with education. We have security issues that must be resolved. We have to be able to ensure that there is safety, security, healthcare, and education for every citizen of this country. And we need to ensure that the greatest Egyptian minds globally are interacting, that are giving their opinions, because the path ahead of us is very, very difficult. This election has been a milestone for this great nation. This election must be, at the end of the day, respected. The Presidential Commission will be making its decision after counting its ballots, after reviewing all of the various documents that have come before it. And it is imperative that this decision is respected by all members within this great country. Thank you very much. Yes. I think ultimately that question should be asked to candidate Morsi, but at the end of the day, candidate Shafik has stated unequivocally that he is intending on congratulating candidate Morsi if he is victorious, and he is intending on offering his services. It will be up to candidate Morsi to then determine whether he wants to accept that or not, and in which manner.
So his services as
Absolutely. May I also stress another important point with respect to the position of vice president, and this is extremely important. Candidate Shafik is intending on appointing at a minimum 3 vice presidents. He is intending on appointing a member of the Islamic groups. He is intending on appointing a Christian candidate, and he is intending on appointing a female. At the end of the day, we are looking to build a unified government, one that indeed can represent all of the Egyptian people. I think it's important that this be very well understood, because ultimately these are the basic principles of democracy. We are not looking for one candidate to claim victory over another. We're not looking for one candidate to hold as many press conferences as it possibly can in order to ensure that the news and the sound bites are out there. At the end of the day, the lives of over 80 million people are at stake here. And it is important that the message that is delivered is understood, that it is fair, that it is one of justice. And this is what candidate Shafik is intending on doing without a doubt. He wants this to be a government of inclusion for everyone. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. I think ultimately this is one of the things you'd have to request from the campaign office of candidate Shafik, but I think that your request has been heard, and I'm sure that somebody can address that with you offline. Absolutely. Please go ahead. At the end of the day, the constitutional declaration that the military has issued, this is something that's within the auspices of the Supreme Council for the Armed Forces. At the end of the day, I think that this is the form of government that we have on an interim basis, and as such, the candidate will be discussing that. But we'll be happy to discuss this offline with you. Please. In response to that question, I think there is a process that is ongoing. I think that this process is now in front of the various judicial bodies, and ultimately we respect the judiciary in whatever decision that they reach. And it is important, as this is one of the basic principles of democracy. At the end of the day, the judiciary must serve as an independent body and cannot be influenced. And we are willing to accept whatever result that they come up with. Please.
كل النتائج المحاضرة الثالثة جهة مستقلة زي ما انت قلت القضاء اعلنت وفقا اللي هي مراقبة ان برضه مرسي كان ما تاخدش اي قرار شديد بيقول ان هو حصل على النتائج ازاي.
The Presidential Commission has not provided any supporting documentation. The Presidential Commission, who is responsible for these elections, has not issued any statements, it has not issued any opinions, nor has it given any indications. As such, we are not in a position to tell you potentially what the results are. However, we are very confident and very comfortable through the exit polling that we have done, or that we have held, that we are indeed going to claim victory for this election. But ultimately, to answer your question, these documents have not been issued by the Presidential Commission. As such, they can only be viewed as opinions at this specific moment in time. This is our opinion, but this is not the opinion of the Presidential Commission. Please.
You're confident that in fact, why not do the Freedom and Justice Party is not going to die, not going to change it back up?
I think at the end of the day, what we want to do is to wait for the Commission to conclude its counting of the ballots and to issue its results formally. I mean, ultimately, it's very important to understand that the Cairo balloting, which accounts for approximately 12% of the total votes that have been cast, did not commence until the next day in the morning. And so at the end of the day, we do not want to seem as premature. Moreover, we want to stress the importance of unity. Coming forward and declaring victory and doing and holding events does not allow us to embrace all Egyptians from all walks of life. And I think that will conclude the session. We will be available for any additional questions. Thank you very much. My name is Basil Elbaz, and I am one of the advisors to candidate Shafiq. Thank you.